Hello, I just wanted to send you a quick little video to show you what you missed on your quiz, and then I'm going to have you do a couple of replacement problems so that I can make sure that you understand this lesson before you move forward. Okay, so for this lesson you are supposed to graph each line using the x and y intercepts. So in order to do that, you first want to put your equation in standard form, and then you are going to let the x coordinate be 0 and solve for the y, and then you're going to let the y coordinate be 0 and solve for the x, okay? I'm going to go ahead and put this on a new page so that we have some more space here. So if we have negative 2x plus 4 times y equals 8, so we're going to let the x be 0 and solve for the y, and we're going to let the y be 0 and we're going to solve for the x. So if I take this equation and I let the x be 0, okay, that is going to wipe out this term right here. Negative 2 times 0 is 0. So that leaves me with just 4 times y equals 8. So I divide by 4 on both sides. So y equals 2. Okay, now remember, ordered pairs are listed the x first and then the y. So when the x is 0, the y is 2. And it's important that you write those down correctly so that when you plot your points, it is in fact the point that you want it to be. So let's do the next one, which is we want to take this equation, and this time we are going to let the y be 0, and we're going to solve for the x. So negative 2 times x plus 4 times 0 equals 8. We know that 4 times 0 is just going to be 0, so that's going to wipe that term out. And then to get rid of the multiplication of negative 2, we use division. So this time x equals 8 divided by negative 2, which is negative 4. Be sure to use your calculator on these, okay, to do your integer operations. Many of you are just making mistakes on that. You understand the concept and you know how to graph the points, but when you are plugging in to the equation, you're just making simple calculation errors. So make sure you're always using your calculator. So this is our x-axis. I'm just going to do a quick graph here. This is our y-axis. Okay, we know that our line crosses the y-axis at 0, 2. Okay, that's our y-intercept. And we know the line crosses the x-axis at negative 4, 0. So your line should have looked like this on number 1. So let me go ahead and show you number 2. So for number 2, we have 3x minus 5y equals negative 15. So we want to make sure we write that down correctly. 3 times x minus 5y equals negative 15. So in order to graph this line using the x and y intercepts, we want to first make sure it's in slope intercept or standard form, which it is. Then we're going to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So we find the x-intercept by letting the y be 0 and solve for the x. And we find the y-intercept by letting the x be 0 and solving for the y. So let's take this equation. We're going to write it just like it is, but instead of the y, we're going to plug in 0. And then we know that negative 5 times 0 is 0, which leaves us with 3 times x equals negative 15. So we divide by 3 on both sides. So x equals negative 5. Okay, let's go ahead and find the y-intercept now. So we find the y-intercept by letting the x be 0. And then we're going to solve for the y. So 3 times 0, we know that that's 0, so that's going to just wipe out that term. And then we're left with negative 5 times y, to divide by a negative 5 on both sides. So y equals a positive 3. Okay, now from there, we can just graph our line. So there's our y-axis. There's our x-axis. We know our line crosses the x-axis at negative 5, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's to the left 5 and up or down 0. And then we know that this line crosses the y-axis at 0, 3. So voila, that gives us 2 points. And we can always graph a line if we knew 2 points that are on the line. Okay, and then the last one most of you got correct, y equals negative 4. Remember, whenever you have a y equals equation, it's only going to cross through the y-axis. So if this is my y-axis, this is my x-axis, y equals negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 would be right here, but then we have to graph the line y equals negative 4. So that would be a line going through negative 4 on the y-axis. And we know that every single point that we can pick on this line is going to have a y-coordinate of negative 4. Okay, so like this point right here would be 2, negative 4. This point right here would be 4, negative 4. This point right here would be negative 1, negative 4. So it doesn't matter what point we pick along this line, the y-coordinate is always going to be negative 4. So y equals negative 4. That's a horizontal line crossing through negative 4 on the y-axis. So with that said, let me go ahead and give you a few replacement problems. Okay, so here are your 3 replacement problems. Go ahead and do these questions for me and then turn them into the assignment box. And if you have any questions at all, please make sure that you either come to math class or math lab, and I hope to see you soon.